This is the biggest right you have to grant back to the user. Right? You have to get them a usable copy of the information. And I don't mean just a faxed copy like my medical record. Right? I mean, give me access to usable information. This is my genotype. Now, it comes in A's, T's, C's, and G's, which is usable for me to get to some people. This is the most usable version for me. It lets me see that I carry an elevated risk of prostate cancer, psoriasis, Alzheimer's disease. And I show this to geneticists, and they flip out. They're like, you're telling people you have the ApoE4 allele. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not going to change it. Right? And it's only $100 to find out, so I'm pretty sure everyone that needs to know to punish me is going to know within a couple of years, whether or not you guys do. But what's interesting is because 23andMe gives me the right to download a copy of the A's, T's, C's, and G's, I can upload it to other places. So I put it into Synapse. This is a sort of like GitHub, but for biology data, at a nonprofit called Sage Bionetworks, where I also work. So this is my data set. Inside that, I'm individual 1418122. I syndicated it from there to a wiki in Germany, which is nice, right? It's called OpenSNP. And from there, it got harvested to another wiki here in the US called SNPpedia that automatically ran some annotations on it. And so I discovered I have a significant risk of hypertension I didn't know about that hadn't been discovered yet. And even funnier is I found a genetic genealogist in the UK emailed me randomly having analyzed like 90 rare alleles in the genotype that are non-functional but indicate family. And this is probably the funniest line I've ever gotten in an unsolicited email, right? So it turns out that there's no inbreeding in my family. Right? And I'm from Tennessee, right? So this was good news. But it gets at, it's a good trope, right? But it gets at the fact that by giving me a usable copy, I didn't have DRM on it, I didn't have to fight for it, I had to sort of go through some annoyances to download it, but once I had it, I could do things with it. And even in these early days, right, I found out an interesting piece of health background, which is the cardiovascular and the hypertension risk. And I found out a neat piece of genealogy. So if you start to think about what would happen if I had my medical record in a usable form,